In the summer of 1493, just a year after Columbus made his famed voyage across the Atlantic, a group of Spanish explorers set out to chart more of the New World. Led by Captain Diego de Rojas, a seasoned navigator and fierce believer in hidden treasures, the crew set sail from Seville. They aimed to explore the vast, uncharted eastern coastline of the mysterious lands Columbus had spoken of. The journey was rough, beset by storms and strange weather. But by late August, their ships finally approached what they believed to be the mainland of this new continent. As they anchored off the coast, they noticed something odd and an unnatural shimmer in the air above the waves, almost like the fabric of the world was bending in front of them. It was faint, like a mirage, but unmistakable. Curiosity won over caution. Captain Rojas and a group of his most trusted men took a small boat and rowed toward the shimmer. As they passed through it, they felt a brief sensation of weightlessness, as if time itself had paused. And then, everything changed. The sky above darkened, though it was midday. The coastline that had been familiar moments ago had vanished, replaced by towering cliffs and rugged shorelines unlike anything they had seen. The wind carried the scent of pine and something else, something ancient. But the most striking sight were the trees. They stood taller than any tree the men had ever seen, their thick trunks stretching hundreds of feet into the sky. Their bark was a deep, rich red, and their branches swayed high above, almost brushing the heavens. The explorers were stunned, their mouths agape at the sight. It was as if they had been transported to another world entirely. Unsure of what had just happened, Captain Rojas ordered his men to make camp. Over the next few days, they ventured inland, documenting what they saw. The red trees, which they called arbos gigantes, or giant trees, grew in thick forests, their trunks so wide that it would take several men to encircle one. The air was crisp, cooler than the humid shores they had left behind. Strange animals roamed the forests, creatures with shaggy fur and antlers, unlike any deer they had known. Though they marveled at the discovery, the crew grew uneasy. There was an unnatural silence to the place, as if the land was holding its breath. Despite their growing discomfort, Captain Rojas insisted they press on. He believed they had stumbled upon an undiscovered realm, one that could hold untold riches or power. But after a week, something began to change. The forest seemed to shift around them. Trails they had marked would disappear overnight, and their sense of direction became muddled. The shimmer they had passed through on the shore was nowhere to be found. It was as if the very earth had sealed itself behind them. Tensions grew among the men. Some whispered of curses, others of spirits protecting the land. Captain Rojas, a devout man, dismissed these claims as superstition, though doubt began to creep into his own heart. One night, after a particularly disorienting day of wandering, a storm swept through the forest with a fury they had never seen before. Lightning cracked the sky, illuminating the towering red trees, making them appear even more otherworldly. The next morning, as the storm cleared, the shimmer reappeared along the distant coastline. Exhausted and fearful, the men rushed back to the shore, eager to leave this strange place behind. As they passed through the shimmer once more, the world seemed to right itself. The familiar eastern coast reappeared before them, as if nothing had ever changed. The crew sailed back to Spain, their hearts heavy with confusion and a creeping sense of dread. Captain Rojas documented everything in his log, though his words were hesitant, as if he feared being labeled a madman. When they returned to Seville, he presented his findings to the court, but most dismissed his tale as a fabrication or a result of the crew's fatigue. However, Rojas detailed maps of the region, which included strange markers and sketches of the giant red trees, were quietly stored away in the royal archives. Over time, they were forgotten, buried beneath more pressing concerns of conquest and colonization. Centuries passed, and the world moved on. Yet, from time to time, whispers of Captain Rojas' journey resurfaced. Some said the Spaniards had discovered a portal, a gateway between coasts, or perhaps even to another dimension. There were vague, ancient records found in forgotten vaults, mentioning strange trees and storms, but no one could ever prove their truth. It wasn't until explorers in the 19th century rediscovered the great redwoods on the west coast of what is now California that Captain Rojas' story began to feel eerily plausible. Though no one had ever found the portal, old maps with faded markings hinted that somewhere, Hidden in the shifting landscape of time, the shimmer might still exist, waiting for those daring or foolish enough to find it again. Make sure to like and subscribe.